everybody. Today I'm bringing you this layout with a photo of my mom from one of my nephew's weddings. And you're not going to see me create the background here, which is already done, which is that frame of patterned paper with the craft colored paper in the middle. And that's because I created that background for a separate tutorial video. One of my subscribers had asked about it. So here is, if you watch that, here's the actual layout that I made after I created that background. So the black like quatrefoil paper, which is a frame, is from Bella Boulevard Color Chaos, and it's the pickle juice strands paper, which, if you know Bella Boulevard, the pickle juice is actually on the back, because that's definitely a green color. And then that craft paper with almost like a wallpaper print on it is from Recollections. It's the white scroll paper. And then I selected a doily from the Sunny Side Up Bakery. It's a 6-inch doily, and those are available at Hobby Lobby. And then I was thinking, I really wanted to get this bow on here. Victoria Marie is doing a package challenge, so, you know, use up as many packages of things as you can. And I just was not able to get that bow on here. So I'm hoping I'm going to do some scrapping later today that maybe I can get a bow on there, get that bow on something else. Instead, I'm actually going to use the bow on this, the gold bow on this layout. So that gold bow is from the Paper Studio, which is a Hobby Lobby brand. It's the Spare Parts solid gold paper bows, and I don't think that they have them anymore. I think those were actually clearanced. So then I chose that bird, which may seem a little bit funny, but my mom really loves birds and all nature and things about them, so it made sense to do that on her, a page about her. And that bird is chipboard from the Simple Stories, The Story of Us chipboard stickers. That collection is, I think, 3 years old now, actually. And then I'm choosing these chalk labels here. I wanted something to ground behind that bird, just to give it a place to rest. And then I decided there was so much going on in the bottom there that I needed something going on the top of the layout. So I put the photo cluster down to the bottom left, and then there'll be just a little bit of a cluster to the top right there. And then I'm using another one of those bows as well. And that comes in, I didn't write it down, but it's a mixed package of those bows. Again, you can see the yellow tag that they were clearance from a Hobby Lobby. Those chalkboard labels are from American Crafts DIY Shop. They're the chalk labels from there. Sorry about the allergies today, bothering me a little bit. And I basically have my idea of what I'm going to do. I am going to, that label is so long, I thought it was a little bit too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it actually come from the side of that paper. So I cut a little bit off. Now, I could have left that label intact and had it go off that middle square, but I just thought that it looked a little, it would look more like it was floating. This way it looks like it's grounding from the side of the layout, if that makes any sense to you. So if you feel like something's floating, try that little trick. That might actually help. And then these pieces do have, the chipboard pieces do have adhesive on the back, but I usually add adhesive to all of my chipboard just because it's so heavy and I don't want it ending up in the bottom of my page protector like it often will do. So I'm just getting this cluster grounded down. And if you just heard that, that was my cats fighting. There was a little bit of hissing going on. Not sure if you picked that up or not. Anyway, so I just put a little extra adhesive on chipboard, especially the chipboard letters, the thicker letters especially. So I wanted something else, like another piece of chipboard or something in that top cluster. I thought about putting that gold heart in the bottom cluster, but decided nope, I really liked it in the top. It gives it 3 elements and it brings a piece of chipboard up into that top cluster as well. And that again is from the Simple Story of Us chipboard stickers. So those are all glued down. All right, so now I just want to put some sort of title on here, and I'm thinking about what kind of letters I'm going to use and where that title might go. For my nephew's wedding albums, both of their wedding albums, I didn't title most pages. I just let them go, through with just the pictures and that kind of a thing on them. As a matter of fact, there was really very little journaling. There will be no journaling on this page other than the top label saying what the date was, and then the bottom label saying who it is. The guy who's escorting her is not a family member of my family, but of my nephew's in-laws. He's one of my nephew's in-laws. So I wanted to make sure to get that documented, just so that would help make sense if someday people went through these and were like, who is that guy? So now I'm going through and I have these black letters, these black tile letters from Cartabella Rustic Elegance, from that sticker sheet, and I'm going to put them down. I liked the font, except now if the title was only this long, I think it would have been fine. But you're going to see one of the reasons that I really like to use waxed paper in just a minute. So I'm looking at this, and actually where this is sitting, it looks okay now. This title gets really long, or really long. When the title is finished, it's longer and it looks really, really heavy. And you see that? It almost feels like it's, it's sitting on top and it's weighting down the photograph and like pushing on it is the only way I can describe it. And I think it's just because it's a very dark line and blocked there with very little space. So that title, if I'd put it down there, I think it would have been okay, but I don't like how that would have been balanced on the layout. So that wouldn't have worked for me. What I'm going to do is I went to some other letter stickers that I have, and these are from the Simple Story of Us Expressions cardstock stickers. These are more open, so they're not quite as weighty looking, and these will work just fine. You can see the sticker sheet right there, and I think if I had used the smaller letters on that sticker sheet, the smaller black ones there, it probably could have worked. I'm not sure if they would have had enough presence on the page, however, and this alphabet is like perfect. I didn't test it, but I just kind of knew in my eye that it would be fine. So this is a really good reason, because if I had started, first of all, the title went from one edge of the picture to the other. So I didn't like how the spacing looked with the block letters. And then, like I said, again, it was just way too heavy. So I'm glad that I looked at this and made the choice to change what I was doing here. All right, now the title of this is going to be Graham, and the reason that is my nephews both call my mom Graham, not Grandma, and that comes from actually the oldest one whose wedding this is started calling her that when he was a very little boy, when he first started to talk, and it's never changed. So, and it's kind of fun. There's cute stories behind the Graham piece and all of that. So titling this that particular sentiment is really meaningful to my family. All right, and look at me, how daring I am. At the moment, I'm not using my tweezers to put these letters down. You don't see me do that very often. I did create this on a weekend though, so I actually have a little bit of a fingernail because they hadn't been just clipped. And I say this all the time, I'm a massage therapist, so I don't get to have very long fingernails. Except here comes my tweezers. I knew that was going to happen. It was hard to take the centers of the letters out, and it was getting hard. The other thing is when I'm placing these down, my hands are in the way, and I can't see the alignment of the letters very well. So if I use the tweezers, that gives me just a little bit of extra space. And then I can see the letters. All right, and I just about have this down. And you see now that I have the title almost all done, the difference in the weight of the title at the top there, how it doesn't look anywhere near as solid or is blocky. It just looks like it's resting on the shelf versus actually taking up a lot of space up at the top and looking heavy. All right. So that's done. Now, I go to use what I thought was my white, a white Jelly Roll pen, and it actually was a glitter, just a clear glitter pen. I thought I had a white Jelly Roll pen. I'm having problems with white pens. I was using a Uniball Signal in white, and I just didn't like it. It skipped a lot. So then I found what I thought was a better tip kind of paint pen, but it's too wide. It needs to be finer, so that's not going to work. So I think I'm going to go see if I can find a white Jelly Roll. They're less expensive than the Uniball Signals, so I guess if I have to get rid of them because they skip too much, you're not investing as much money. It's too bad that we can't get a decent white ink, and I have to have white ink so that when I do things like writing on these chalkboard labels, it makes sense. So, and then what happens here is I decide to use my Wink of Stella marker because you can still see a little bit of glitter on that original label right by that bird. And so I decided to go through and use my Wink of Stella here. And I have a brush marker here in my hand on these pieces. And it's kind of nice. You just get just a little bit of a glimmer of the glitter. It's not like in your face. And I think that's nice. All right, and I'm just trying to get a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm going over the lettering here. That's what prompted this whole thing, is that you could still see the glitter behind the very first letter I'd written when I wrote with that Jelly Roll pen. And so it made sense for me to kind of add glitter to the rest of it then. Now, I just thought of this, that the chipboard has a slick surface to it. I'm not sure that that dried properly, but oh well. Anyway, here's a still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you're all well, and I'll be back with another video again soon. Bye!